Buongiorno professor Lazea e mille grazie per concederci questa conversazione su una tematica così importante per il futuro dell'Unione Europea che riguarda un po' tutti noi e le future generazioni. E sono felice che lei possa offrirci alcune riflessioni, alcuni elementi di considerazione sulla realtà dell'Europa centro-orientale che lei conosce bene.
Grazie per l'invito, buongiorno.
In a few weeks we will celebrate the 60th anniversary of the Treaties of Rome, establishing the European Economic Community and the European Community for Atomic Energy. Of course, we are looking back. We will consider the outcome of this long period of peace in Europe, but at the same time, we need to deeply consider what can we do for the future of the European Union. We know that we are facing a very difficult period, difficult challenges, and we need to decide how to shape the future of the European Union. You are very familiar with socio-political aspect situation in Central and Eastern Europe, in a very important part of this continent, and I would like to ask you, how do you see the attitude of the member states of the European Union of Central and Eastern Europe towards the future of the European Union, towards the European project?
Very difficult question because there are several developments in this part of Europe since the so-called Big Bang enlargement. Romania and Bulgaria we are just celebrating 10 years from that event. A few years ago, the same celebration took place in other 10 countries across the region. One of these developments is related to the so-called Visegrad group, which is a group of 4 countries mainly from Central Europe. Romania was invited in several occasions to the meetings of this group, and the group as such is an informal, actually, form of gathering together leaders from this part of Europe in order to prepare European summits, in order to have common opinions on certain European topics. So the Visegrad group expressed in several occasions common positions, but not always in the same, let's say, line with older member states. For example, the most important development in this relation between the older and newer member states took place in recent years regarding the refugee crisis. And we all know, for example, the very strong position of leaders in Central and Eastern Europe against the idea of receiving so-called quotas for refugees. So this is one small example of the way in which Central and East European countries tried to have a common voice. So let's say that a mixed news came from the region. The good news coming from the region is actually exactly what happened in Romania from the beginning of this year. Actually, in a time when pro-European voices are in a way fewer and fewer, Romania proved to be, during the protests started at the beginning of this year, proved to be a country in the region that sent a very strong message, not only to Romanian politicians, to Romanian government, but also to the whole Europe, that people in the streets, people coming out on the streets of Bucharest and in many other places across the country, people protested against corruption, but in the same time they protested against what they perceived to be a departure from the core values of the European Union. So the protests in Romania have been perceived as a very strong signal that people could and that can defend values such as democracy, rule of law, and let's say the very belonging to the country, to the European family. So I think that in celebrating this year 60 years of the Treaty of Rome, this signal comes just in time to say that yes, the values the community was founded upon are still defended and very strong, perceived as an identity for people in the region.
To what extent do you think that the population in this reality is aware of the importance of the European Union? And regarding migration, the problem is connected with solidarity, and we know that in his famous declaration, Schuman underlines that the European unification will be possible only if it will be based on solidarité de fait, real solidarity. And I think that also many Eastern and Central European countries benefited a lot from the European integration.
That's true. A week ago, the protesters on the street of Bucharest decided to send a clear message regarding the EU and the fact that people on the street, the fact that protesters are aware of the importance of the EU in defending those values. And so on Sunday, they came out with this idea of holding a big EU flag just in front of the Romanian government, and they succeeded actually. And that was an idea that came out after another flag, the flag of the Romanian state. So the two are connected, and the flag of the EU was the signal that actually belonging to the EU means belonging once again to a family of which is founded upon certain values, on solidarity. Well, we all have to fight some prejudices, and some of the prejudices are related to the costs and benefits of belonging to the EU, not only in Eastern Europe, also in Western Europe. There are unfortunately politicians that are sending different messages. I mean, while in Brussels, they are, let's say, Europeans, when coming back to their capital cities, they are saying that all bad things are coming from Brussels. Same happened, unfortunately, in Eastern Europe, and the benefits of the integration, although we can measure them, and the question of Romania's contribution to the EU budget, it's quite clear that not only for Romania, for all countries in the region, the EU funds in the last 10 years are bigger than the national contribution to the EU budget. So the solidarity inside the EU functioned quite well. Unfortunately, the benefits are not equally or fairly distributed. So there are large parts of the population didn't benefit in the same way, like urban, well-educated population in several cities in Romania. So this is a part of the explanation.
Professor Lazea, as we all know, we are having now a growing popularism in several European countries. Sometimes, it is my opinion, this popularism is degenerating in a pathological nationalism. How is the situation, according to your opinion, in Central and Eastern Europe?
Well, Central and Eastern Europe is part of the same global trend, unfortunately. We are witnessing a growth in nationalist movements across the region, and probably best known case is that of Hungary. Unfortunately, Hungary is not the only example in the region. I'm going to speak about Romania because Romania is still considered to be a country where there is no political party, at least in the parliament, that is as much as nationalistic as other parties in power in Central and Eastern Europe. Unfortunately, during the electoral campaign last year, we witnessed actually a political campaign against foreigners. It was expressed in several ways, and it was combined with a strong national identity electoral campaign. Well, the idea that only Romanian names are worthy enough in order to be promoted in government positions, then a whole campaign against the so-called George Soros influence into Romanian politics. So these are examples of a new development in Romanian politics that are not good news, so to say. Of course, the good news came 2 years and a half ago when the Romanian president being elected. He is a member of an ethnic minority. President Iohannis is a member of the German ethnic minority, and this was a very good signal at that moment. Unfortunately, once again, things can change in a very short period of time. So in less than 3 years, look, that happened already. I mean, the electoral campaign last year proved to be, for some parties, already oriented against the idea of foreigners or foreign names, the idea of foreigners having the right to rule the country and being part of the government, although they are Romanian citizens for some of them, their families for centuries.
Professor Lazea, if you agree, I would like to keep our conversation on Romania. A recent initiative of the Romanian government with the so-called Ordonanța d'Urgență generating a very strong reaction among the population with many manifestations requiring the withdrawal of the government. What happened?
Well, as you already mentioned, the government decided all of a sudden to change the legislation, the anti-corruption legislation, which is already by European institutions as being a very good example in the region and a very good development in the Romanian anti-corruption fight. And well, that infuriated people, not only because this change in the legislation has never been discussed during the electoral campaign, but also because for everybody, that legislation, that change in the legislation, has been designed precisely in order to help some political leaders to escape trials. So political leaders being already charged by prosecutors on different crimes, they actually managed to convince the government to change the legislation in order to make the situation clean, let's say. So that movement, that idea of the government, that happened actually during a meeting of the cabinet very late in the evening, with the official gazette working during the night in order to publish the decree. So that way in which the government acted in those days, or better, that night, infuriated the people. And the reaction was quite strong.
Explică-ne! Vrem să știm de ce! Explică-ne! Vrem să știm de ce! Explică-ne! Vrem să știm de ce! Explică-ne! Vrem să știm de ce!
What is now, how is now the political situation, the political scenario in Romania?
Well, the Social Democrats, the winner of the elections last year, is still in power. people on the street demanded that the same party form a new government, I mean, to nominate a new prime minister, because this current prime minister is no longer um, credible enough in order to continue to govern. But otherwise, the electoral cycle is actually at the beginning, so there are 4 years in front of us with this political configuration. So the Social Democrats are reaching almost 50% of the seats in the parliament. So that's gonna be probably the situation in the next 4 years. Well, a good part of the political analysts, what they are hoping actually is to see a reform in this party, the Social Democrat Party, in order to be sure that such unexpected decisions would not happen again. So, but otherwise, very few people actually claimed that new new elections should take place because of this scandal. So, from this point of view, the situation is now set for the next 4 years, let's say. So the Social Democrats are still forming a strong majority with their allies, the Liberal Democrats, and so no one is believing that new elections could or should take place in the next few months. But yes, a new government, that is still a possibility with a new prime minister proposed by the same majority.
Professor Lazea, thank you very much for your availability to be in connection with us, for your information, for your insights about the situation in Central and Eastern Europe. We hope that even the celebration of the 60th anniversary of the Treaty of Rome will be an occasion for politicians, for everybody, to take into serious consideration what we can do about the future of our dear Europe, which is, of course, our future. Thank you very much. Mulțumesc și numai bine pentru activitatea dumneavoastră la Universitatea din București.
Thank you very much, Paolo. Thank you. And un grande grazie per la tua per il tuo contributo verso la cooperazione universitaria alle nostre università. Grazie.
Grazie, buon lavoro.